Hello.
Hello.
Too many people don't care about this book.
I
Always.
love Assassin's Blade.
It's because I muted myself. So you didn't hear me say that. I said, do you know how many people want to talk about this book? And everyone said no. Yeah, I know. It's okay. I know. You'll hear me in about 10 seconds. We love that YouTube delay. It's real great, let me tell you. She gonna come in real fast. Okay, good. I think you can hear me now. Okay, cool. Well, this one's going to be a little different because usually the way we do this. Oh, also because Avery and I forgot to pick an MVP for Assassin's Blade.
Oh yeah, we have to say that here.
On the podcast.
No. We have it picked. We just forgot to say it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait, do I have mine picked?
I swear to God.
I don't remember if my pick.
Avery has a list.
Well, yeah, you're way more organized than me. So for the podcast, we do an MVP for every episode. So if you guys have an MVP for Assassin's Blade, like most valuable or least valuable, I'll take either. You know, just think about it. Just think about it. I'm not gonna put you on the spot right now.
Your girl knows.
Yeah. But usually how we do this is we like break down specific moments. But I figured because we're just talking about these little stories, let's just talk about the stories and say what we loved about each story. First off, what is everyone's favorite story of the 5? Healer.
Desert or healer?
Desert. Nice.
Probably healer.
Desert.
I'm desert.
Okay, I'm pirate.
Of course you are.
Is there a Slido tonight? No Slido. So you guys can just put your questions in the comments and I'll read them out just so that way you guys. The leader of the Silent Assassins, the Mute Master. Mm-hmm. The Mute Master.
That's honestly a solid MVP for that book.
The Mute Master.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
God. That's a clutch pick, honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I'm a little sad that I chose mine now, but I'm also not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I figured we'll just talk about each story and then which we were going to do Theory Thursday. You guys didn't know this because I didn't announce it. We were supposed to do Theory Thursday yesterday with Team Mort and we were very excited about it. And then we realized Sarah was live.
Yeah, Avery called on Tuesday and was like, we can't do it. We have tickets to this thing. And she was like, right.
Yeah. So, which by the way, still haven't watched it. I have no idea. I know the basics. Some people did some great recaps on Instagram and TikTok, so I understand the basics of what happened.
Oh, and I called her about that one thing.
She called me about Throne of Glass, which I literally was like, like I could not. I think we all though knew this. Like this is the thing. When people come to me and they're like, Throne of Glass is over. Don't you guys all want to just like shake them?
Yes.
Obviously.
It's not.
It's not overrated.
Oh my God, it's so not.
I've not felt like everything is complete with any of her series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do feel like she did a good job wrapping up. Like, I feel like Aelin and Rowan's story is.
Yeah, that's
by the way, this is
up.
a really good time to bring up. This is series spoilers for Throne of Glass. I just.
By the way,
it is stated in multiple places, but I just need to clarify that. Yeah, no, I think Aelin and Rowan are wrapped up, but like Fenris, Manon, Dorian,
Manon and Dorian,
Minorian. Oh wait,
Lorcan.
Honest,
And
no,
Lorcan.
No.
I just need their spice. I just need a Lorcan spice.
No, we can have like a side chapter.
Oh, to Lorcan. I thought you were saying no to Fenris Ambassador.
No,
Like,
absolutely
I'm sorry,
not.
what?
She would never. She would never say no to Fenris anything. She just hates on my guy.
Yes, for a very valid
It's
reason.
for a valid reason, okay. But still, I said ill Lorcan, not Lorcan.
The ill is the most important part of
I'm
that. Lorcan.
very aware.
Ill. For me, it's like ill. Lorcan.
Oh, Lorcan.
That's what,
Or technically it's Orchid because
ill Orcan. That's how I feel about it's ill Orcan. That's how I feel about that. You know, That's the process for that one because I really can't ever forgive him. So
Empire Storms. Yep.
what's wrong with him? A lot.
Let's make a list.
Look, the man made some poor choices.
Some.
Hey, he chose a lead. He didn't, make all the poor choices.
You know what also chooses the lead? Aelin Ash River Galathinius. So
You're very annoying.
Manon.
Yeah. Honestly, Manon and Aelin, oh my god. I mean, she, bloodsworn him, so it's fine. But like, love me a redemption. But was it a redemption? Or was it we'll save you because we like Iliad?
Pretty much.
Thank you. Now we know who did the notes with me. So you gonna do
We've been through this.
yeah, for real.
Listen.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay. Well, I was gonna say we'll talk about we can save the end to kind of talk about that live a little bit if we want to, and then I know at some point this month we will do a Theory Thursday with Team Mort so that you guys can share some of your crazy theories because Avery and I love to theory spiral, but honestly, this read along is helping us find those theory spirals.
But also, we don't have time to actually spiral.
We don't have time. There's literally not enough time in the day, hours, months, weeks for me. So, but
We're very tired.
Very tired.
That's all me, Sam, and Amanda too.
Yeah. Or Marco Polo is just chaos.
It is. I believe that. Yeah, I mean, I just call Avery at 2 a.m.
Yeah, that happened.
Me and Sam were on until
Which
11 last
remind-
night.
Yeah, we talked for like 4 hours. We were spiraling last
I
night.
love that. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to Desert, but I literally called Avery and I was like, why does it say that there was a book in a language that she had never seen and she just walked right past it? I was like...
And I literally... the words that came out of my mouth were, stop. I don't have time for that.
I literally was like, Aelin, can you turn around? It's the same thing. Okay, not major spoilers for Silver Flames, I promise. It's the same thing when Cassian was like, I don't know what all this stuff is in Reese's office. And I was like, could you pay attention, sir?
Or like when Nesta points out in the harp chamber and it's like all of these like constellations. She's like, well, this is the night court. And you're just like, shut up.
I'm like, I'm so sorry, Amanda, but this is when he's a himbo. That's the moment. I'm sorry. I'll get on a tangent about Cassian later. I love him dearly. He's number 2 for me. Like but
He's my number 1.
Pay
He's my number 1
attention. You know who paid attention? Rune. You know why Rune paid attention? Because his father made him when he went into the Autumn Court, the Autumn
really
King's
annoying.
office. I'm just
really
saying. I'm just saying.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, Cassian's smart, but he's in the smartest in that group. I think Amryn is. I think Amryn's smarter than all of them.
Honestly, Amryn is secret. I've got a secret. Like,
Yeah, she is.
ma'am.
Can't wait for her. Anyways, so Throne of Glass, Assassin's Blade. Let's talk about the first story, which is the pirate. Someone said, I just need to know what Lorcan did. Yeah, where are you, babe? Because I don't want to spoil. So, pirate. First off, what did you guys read the order in? Like, what was your reading orders? When did you read Assassin's Blade?
Yours.
I found you after. So I found you while I was reading Crown of Midnight, but I didn't see your
Order?
video about order. So I read it after Air of Fire.
So did I.
Oh,
So
okay. You guys all did. Now, did you like it after
Yeah.
Air of Fire? Yeah,
I regretted it because like I wanted to go immediately into Queen of Shadows and I was like, oh god, I know I have to read this, but yeah. So I didn't
I was the
really
same.
like read it before Air of Fire.
That one makes sense.
I just got lucky that I found you before I started reading Throne of Glass. So I read it where it's supposed to be read.
I'm conflicted because I liked I don't
The
know. I
placement?
was stressed out at the ending of Crown of Midnight, and so I wanted to see what was happening.
Yeah.
But also, like, there were things where I was like, I feel like after Crown of Midnight is better.
I mean, it took me 2 hours to read all of them, so it wasn't like it was like a very long time.
Okay, whatever. Like, listen.
I cried after each story, so it took me a little longer.
I mean,
It took me a little bit.
So I read it at the very end. Like, I read it, well, I mean, we can go down memory lane about how stupid I was. I read it and did read Tower of Dawn and was like,
you skipped.
I was like, this spider merchant isn't important. Like, why is anyone asking me about that? So
I remember that line.
Absolutely ridiculous.
well, yeah. And I mean, I like it after Crown of Midnight only because even if I wasn't attached to Rowan, because honestly, I wasn't attached to Rowan the first time I read Air of Fire, I still think it would have driven me nuts to like go back when I could tell that he was the next love interest. Like, I wanted to just continue seeing that progression. But I understand why people read it after Air of Fire because it's a cool way to go from Rifthold to Rifthold.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. But okay, so Pirate. What y'all like about Pirate? Anything y'all want to say about Pirate? I mean, I'll just go ahead and start off and say it's my favorite story because the payoff in Empire of Storms is so good. And I also love that she put little hints for the Mycenians in that section. It was just really kind of cool. And then the way that she started to describe the map on his hands.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that all of his pirates have some sort of crazy I was like, Sarah, why does everyone have a tattoo? Did you I don't think Josh has a single tattoo on his body. I genuinely want to know if he has got a tattoo on his body. Like,
Right?
Bestie, do you have what's up with the tattoos?
Need to know.
Does Hunt have one? Hunt just has the one, right?
Stop. I hate you so much.
I meant other ones. I meant other ones besides. Oh, he has two. Just kidding. But like,
Yeah.
Risking the crown.
Oh, no.
Claire's gonna fight.
the minute
Claire's gonna come through this computer right now. Okay,
Moving on.
Claire, what's your favorite part of Pirate? What's your favorite part of Pirate? You're
Honestly-
wearing a bandana. Let's
honestly,
do
the
it.
thing that surprised me the most, because no one had told me this, like I felt like going into Assassin's Blade, and I think a lot of people do, because you for the most part, you think you know the story, so you're like, oh, I know what to expect. Like Sam's gonna
Right.
die, blah 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 blah. What I didn't expect was her to be wearing a mask and like covering her face, and that I don't know why it was back to the Akatar days with like Tamlin in the mask, and I was like, okay, hold on, she's,
We just forget that little tidbit.
Yeah, I just always, whenever I read Akatar, I just, they don't have masks on. Not in my head.
Yeah, because
No.
this is the weird thing, Sam's not wearing a mask.
Oh,
She's wearing a mask, and there's a 1 year difference between the two of them.
it's
Okay.
because he's a guy.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
He doesn't
because-
care.
yeah,
Because he's a guy.
yeah, Sam. I mean, I would like to say it's because Arabin is trying to hide her true identity, and he doesn't want people to be like, she looks familiar. Where is she from?
Right.
But I don't think that's actually the intention.
No.
I think it's more like she's really young. Is there a fan art? Yes, there is.
Of course there is.
He's old.
Yeah, please hold.
My favorite part of the pirate is when she is lounging in on Rolf's desk. That's just
Again, the
So-
payoff.
and then it comes back, and you're just like, ugh, because
This is so good.
because what's so interesting about Selena is a part that Aelin plays.
yeah.
And she played it for years, but she is this over the top, really bratty, really arrogant piece of shit.
Hold on, I have to zoom.
I
have to,
love her dearly, but like she annoys the crap out of everybody she comes into contact with.
Mhm.
Did
So-
anyone find her annoying in Assassin's Blade? Like, honestly?
No.
I get that.
No,
I mean,
not really.
you guys have seen it. We get that complaint a lot about.
Yeah.
I never found Aelin annoying. I always really loved Aelin. So
I know, I did too. Sorry, I have to zoom, I have to go past the other mask about 20 million times.
Anybody
oh
else?
my god. I will say something that is interesting because it kind of ties into Selena being like a part that Aelin plays, is reading it after Heir of Fire is also interesting because you see her like breaking down that part that she's placed and trying to get rid of it. And then you go back to the part and you're like, whoa. Like, because it is such a big shift.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that because I think
that's cool.
And we'll talk about it for sure with Heir of Fire, but I think it is interesting in Assassin's Blade when you really start to piece together that these are two, like, in her mind, these are two different people. This is not the same person. And so when people are like, oh, hey, Aelin, she's like, no, that's not who I am. Like, it is a very separate identity for her. And that is a journey that it really goes on in Heir of Fire. But there are moments in Assassin's Blade where you can see, I mean, especially with Sam being like, let's just go. Let's just leave the continent. And she's like, I can't. It just makes me so sappy. Right. I'm still looking for the photo. Please. It's taking me a minute. Oh, I liked
the whole. I was so stressed with making sure Sam was okay in the pirates. Because I was like,
that was so stressful. I was like, wait,
I was like, I've been told it's at the end, but this is looking kind of what's happening.
I think for me it's because I knew that we weren't going to get him dead until the end, that I was like, okay, well, they're both going to be fine. It's just like, what are we doing right now?
Sorry, I found the Sam art.
Stop.
No.
Just stop.
I'm just gonna stop. We'll look it up later. Okay, this is making me.
Danielle, did you have a favorite part of Pirate?
I really like the lounging on the desk part too, because I also really like the Empire Storm scene a lot, and that kind of like connects it. But I really like too that we really get to see her mind start working. Like, I guess we really get to see the plotting.
Yes.
And like that start to really take place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's something
go ahead, Avery.
That's something you and I talked about in the podcast is that Sam is like one of the only ones who like can see her plotting. And like, if only Rowan and Kale had an inkling of that.
Yeah.
like even a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Well, I will say, when I went into Assassin's Blade, I thought Aelin and Sam were going to be the whole time. And so when I started it, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. No, right. And what's funny too is, I mean, and especially like Adian, I always think of Adian because like one of the things that I love about Adian's arc as a character is he is constantly like, how many times do I have to prove my loyalty to understand your scheming? And for Sam to be the only character in the entire series to be like, what are you doing? And she's like, fine, I'll tell you. And she just tells him. And he's like, that's a really stupid idea, but I'm here. Like that. I wonder if that is one of the reasons she feels so guarded, because she did tell Sam these secrets and she did tell him. And then look where look where he ended up.
Yeah.
Because of these. I mean, I don't know if anyone else felt this way, but I know when I was reading Assassin's Blade, it was like, I wasn't prepared for it to feel like a domino effect. Like the pirate led to the healer led to the desert led to all these, and I just thought they were going to be short stories that, were very different.
Well, and not only does it lead to all of these things within the short stories, but then all of these things have consequences in later books, and it's a constant domino effect up until the end of Kingdom of Ash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so good.
It's
and then
so good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the only thing else to say about the pirate, I mean, the pirate is a fun story because of what happens in Empire of Storms, but it is also a fun story because of the potential, and it's very small, but the very subtle hints of Rolf's identity and who he is in the grand scheme of the northern part of the continent is pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, it's just a fun story.
Yeah.
Healer.
My favorite.
Irene
Towers.
Favorite. Westfall.
Kale's wife.
Mother of Kale's child.
Mother of unborn child.
I need my Kingdom of Ash so I could be like, what's her name?
Let's
Kale's?
let's
You know,
just like
who knows
Sarah.
let's just have a moment
I will never live that down.
to remind everybody that this is Throne of Glass series spoilers. Slayer of Erewhon. Like badass.
Yeah.
I love her.
the queen.
The queen herself. Well, so the healer story, and I think one of the best parts, and we brought it, I don't know if, I think it's on the podcast, but like, I remember last year, Sam and I were like kind of annoying in the Discord. We would say this every time it was a new person when they would be like, the healer's okay. And then we were like, do you remember who's in the Southern Continent when they get to the end of Queen of Shadows? And they'd be like, oh my God. And it's, that is the best part, is like when a reader connects the dots that, that little story, the smallest story in Assassin's Blade is the woman who is going to save Kale.
I'm gonna I said it in the podcast. I'm gonna say it here again because I just have to say it, Sarah, because she's my babe. Irene Towers
I know what you're gonna say.
I know. Is a side character, is a character that's given a lot of backstory and that we come to care about, and is in this novella, and then is a side character love interest in the book of a guy who is also a side character but important. And she ends up slaying the big bad guy with magical healing powers. Like, come on. And you're gonna tell me somebody else isn't important. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done. That's my I've gotten on my soapbox.
No,
I'm done now.
I mean, but I think this is the thing that kind of I mean, not even just talking about those two, just in general. Like, if we look at the history of characters who, I mean, I'm going to use Harry Potter as an example because I think that's a universal series. We all knew Harry was going to defeat Voldemort. We all knew that. That was, it was prophesized. It was very clear from the beginning of the series. Like, even when he was 11 years old, we were like, oh, that guy's going to take care of him.
Right.
Sarah does an incredible job of you thinking, oh, Aelin's going to take care of Erewhon. Oh, Bryce is going to take care of the Asteri. Oh, Feyre's going to take care of the King of Hybern. And then it is always a side character. I mean, we don't know that about CC, but come on, we all know about CC. Yeah. So, like, I mean, you know, it may not be Bryce, but it may be someone she may be related to. That's all I'm going to say.
And like you said with Harry Potter, like, we knew Harry was going to kill Voldemort, but we didn't. I did not see Neville killing a Horcrux coming, and I was like,
Poor Neville.
my guy.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Sam?
Oh, I said my boy Neville.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that was such a cool moment too, because he was starting to look hot in the movies at that point when the book was just coming out. And it was just so fun to realize, like, oh, the next one he's going to do something like crazy. Like, it was so, I mean, so for people to, in general, just dismiss Sarah's side characters are not paying attention because, I mean, Irene Iliad, like, there are plenty, Lysandra, there are plenty of side characters who do, I mean, if we were to put a whiteboard and say, what are the biggest moments in the series? And we would say, okay, for Throne of Glass, it's like what? The word keys is a big one, obviously. Let me think, opening the gates in Crown of Midnight. In Assassin's Blade, it's all these little stories. Heir of Fire, the burnout, Aelin taking care of the Valak princes, stuff like that. I bet if we were to do a chart, Aelin would have like a good chunk that she was involved in or the primary focus. But like Lysandra, they would have a much longer list because they really help push that story through. And so.
And especially considering they're only in the second half of the series outside of a short story.
Yeah. I mean, how many of us, I remember when I was doing the notes for last year and even this year, I was like, oh my God, can we get to Lysandra and Manon, please? Like, I love Aelin and I love Dorian and I love Gale, but it wears off because she's got so many incredible characters that you just want all of them. Like it's honestly going to be hard even when we talk about Air of Fire, and Fenris is in one moment and that's it. He literally, like, you see him like go by and that's like, I don't even think he talks.
I don't think so.
Oh, my baby. So my little white wolf, he just, my white wolf. Anyways, okay. I know.
I'm so annoyed by you half of the time that we're together.
I
love you so much, and
fully aware of that.
Simultaneously want to be
Just saying.
completely separated from you.
Just saying, a wolf.
A wolf.
Yeah. So, he goes by. Oh yeah. He is present for that lovely scene in Air of Fire. I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean and I think the other thing that's incredible about the healer, and not to get too sappy, but it is also a really great chapter about women empowerment, and it is one of the few chapters, or one of the few things that, because most of the time when we recommend Throne of Glass, we're like, oh, it should be for an older audience. But this is one of the things that I'm like, I'm glad a younger audience is reading this, because you're learning self-defense techniques from Selena in that moment. Scream, run in the opposite direction. Like, all these things she's telling Irene are super valuable, even in real life, like not just in that fantasy world.
Yeah. Well, and also like just in general.
Yeah.
And the fact that like later on you see that Irene did go teach more.
Yeah. It is, I mean, and Selena, but Aelin is in such a horrible headspace in Healer. And I love how I can't think of the word, but essentially, like, she just like is direct, I guess is the word. She's so direct when she talks to Irene about like, why are you still here? Why haven't you left? And Irene's like, well, I'm out of money. She's like, wouldn't you rather be homeless there than homeless here? Like, I don't understand what the difference is. Like, and I think Irene needed that kick in the butt. And I think that is just like, it was one of the best things, because I feel like in Irene's life, people have just kind of been like, oh, you can do it. Like, no one's really given her a real kick in the butt. And then we see what that has caused. Our little Irene Towers.
And the note. Oh, I told Avery this. I told Avery this yesterday, but literally I was driving to work listening to the podcast. And when it was said the world needs more healers, I started sobbing like as I was pulling in. And I was like, great, gotta go inside now.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing Sarah does incredible about this series is while Aelin is wildfire and the firebringer and all this stuff, like her heart is in healing. She wanted to be a healer. She would have loved to have been a healer. Rowan even jokes at the end. He's like, if you're lucky, in 100 years, you may be able to heal something with that water. Like, and her compassion about healing is not only seen with Irene, but in deleted scenes from Empire Storms. Like, there are beautiful moments of her caring for these healers, and she had no idea that note would do what it ended up doing. And I think that's pretty cool. Also, the fact that every time I read Tower of Dawn, I'm like, God, Irene, open that locket. Make him see it.
Right.
The entire time I read Tower of Dawn, I was like, please, where's the note? Show the note.
Can he just see it?
No.
And then it's at the very end.
And by then he's like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
It's so good. It is so good. Anything else about the healer before we talk about Desert?
Just love Irene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all we can say.
Okay, Desert. Desert probably also has the most crossover information.
It's where you get the most information about the witches.
Yeah, which I kind of forgot that that
I know.
Ansel is the one that talks to her about the witches. But yeah. It's
like we're first introduced to the witches through Dorian, and then Ansel, and then the witches.
You mean Ansel with her southern accent, right?
Stop! We have already discussed this at length. I am from Georgia. I refuse. Refuse.
Same. Yeah, so the Desert is a really I remember when I started reading The Desert, I was like, oh God, this one's long. But it really packed a punch and had, I mean, she threw a lot of characters in that story. So I guess the first one is we meet Ansel, we meet the Mute Master, we meet his son, and we meet some of the assassins in the fortress. It's not the keep like it is in Rifthold. And then we see those first few days of training, which is essentially her just running around with water, if I remember correctly, in the desert. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I only read it like 3 days ago and I already forgot. Goldfish brain. So if it's not crossover, like random information, I don't remember anything else. So
Not important.
yeah. And oh, this is the other thing. Sarah, all throughout Assassin's Blade, Selena brings up she doesn't have friends. Like, I don't have friends. I have acquaintances. I have enemies. I have allies. However, I think if she had the chance, she probably would have became friends with Irene, but she gave her a gift and later will most likely become friends with Irene. Mm-hmm. But the friendship she made with Ansel, I think, was really important.
Yes.
And Ansel's like, it's funny to see a bubbly character with Selena because I feel like Selena's the bubbly character in most instances, but Ansel felt like the little, jumping grasshopper around her in the desert. And I thought that was a fun moment. So, yeah.
I really love Ansel.
Yeah, I mean, we love a Ginge.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah, the minute I see Ginger on the page, I'm like, friends.
You're mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Ansel's the reason I get to see Ginger fan art of Rowan and Aelin hugging in Queen of Shadows. So, like, she's a bestie for life at this point. Oh, someone's like, can you summarize Ansel's reasoning for doing what she did? It's a little foggy. Anyone want to go for that?
Oh, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Anyone comfortable? I can explain it. I just don't if someone wants to take it out. Okay, does you want me to explain it? Okay, got it. So the thought behind it is, so one of the really cool things about the desert story is and my mom jokes, so quick side note, my mom jokes when I was really little that whenever I would tell a story, she was like, you have to ask Sarah the question 4 times before you get to the truth. Because it would be like, Mom, I almost broke my finger. And she's like, did you almost break your finger? Well, I sprained my finger. Did you sprain your finger? Well, I hit it and it's kind of hurts. Like, that was kind of how it was. And Ansel is the definition of that. And so essentially at the start of the story, we learn, or Ansel explains, that her father sent her here to be trained by the assassins. So because her home, which is the west, is the Western Waste? Am I saying that right? Okay.
Briarcliff.
Briarcliff.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm like, I know it's in the wastes. I'm like, that's what I know.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So her home, Briarcliff, has been taken over by another lord, and her father has sent her here to protect her, but also to train her so that she can come home and potentially remove this lord. Then we find out, once they steal the Asterian horses, that we'll get back to that. That when they're in the desert together, we find out that her father is dead, and that she actually didn't kill a witch. Like, she first tries to say this story about, that a witch came and killed her. I think they killed her sister's best friend. I can't remember. And witches are awful. But then you find out in the desert, actually a witch saved her, gave her the funds to buy this crazy gorgeous armor and come to the desert. And she's here really to gain allies and friends to come home to the Briarcliff. What is happening behind the scenes is Ansel has been hoping to be trained by the Mute Master, but he's essentially giving her no time of day. She's not being trained by him. I think because he's waiting for her to be, I think Ansel, which is very clear to all of us, she's like, I'm ready. And they're like, you're not ready, grasshopper. And then, so she hasn't gotten to that place yet where she is ready to be trained by him. Her maturity essentially hasn't kicked in. And she is done waiting. She's been there for years. She's done. So she reaches out to Lord Barrick, who is the man who is also attacking the fortress. And instead of being the go-between, the messenger between the two, she uses the opportunity to be like, hey, since I need soldiers for my family, I'll give you the information to attack the fortress if you can give me these soldiers. So it is more of a business decision than it is a feelings situation. And we said this fun fact, Avery and I spent about an hour and a half recording Assassin's Blade. Then we had to delete the entire podcast footage, and then we re-recorded it the next day. So in the first,
which is why I look like a troll in that video that Tara posted.
Why we both look like we're exhausted, because we had already talked about all of that the night before, but it was...
We were very sleepy.
There was a whole thing about that. But anyways, in the first recording, and we didn't talk about it in the second one, she was in a relationship with a guy that I think his name was Mikhail in Assassin's Blade in the desert. And he was older and she was much younger. And in this day and age, we would consider it kind of a creepy relationship because he was a consenting adult and she was not. But what she explains, and something that needs to be kind of addressed, is women back then were married at 14 years old. And out of fear that someone was going to take her, she attached herself to a nice guy in the keep, which is horrible that women even have to do that. But that is what she did. And so at the end, when she kills him, she genuinely didn't want to kill him, but he wasn't going to get her to her end goal. So that was just something very interesting to kind of read now in this day and age and be like, yeah, women have to, back then they had to look out for themselves. At 14, that's a child, it's not a woman. But anyway,
right.
I digress. So the reason Ansel did it, did she really have to kill him though? I think Ansel's personality is kind of like the kid that's like, I'd rather just have a clean slate than deal with the mess. So I think she was like, I'd rather just kill with you than deal with the emotions. Mm-hmm. I think someone's like, she also said she attached herself to him so she could get the extra lessons. She did. She attached herself to him for pleasure, for extra lessons, and for security. There was 3 main reasons. I mean, and the pleasure part was once she got older. But like, those were the 3 main reasons she attached herself to that guy versus anyone else in the keep, because she even mentioned that people were coming into the keep and were trying to buy these assassins, and they could make an offer on her and she could say no, but also how does that make her look at the end of the day? I mean, they could come and kill her. They could come and do... So it's just a very interesting, especially this part of the story I thought was very fascinating. But that was the reason Ansel betrayed. It was a business decision so that she could get people to go back to Briarcliff. And I think deep down, that is why Selena gave her that extra minute to escape. Because as another leader in that same continent, in that same region, she understood that you would do anything to get alliances. So, but let's talk about the fun stuff. So the Assyrian horses.
Yes.
The description of the Assyrian horses and why they came to be sounds a little fishy. Just throwing that out there. It's like described that they were made from like the 4 seasons, if I remember, the elements or something like that. Yes. Okay.
Weird.
Interesting. So that's fun. And then
twins.
Yeah. And then we later meet the market, the merchant at the market with the spider silk.
Yeah, he's not important.
Not important at all. Not important at all. Not important at all. But the thing that I like to point out about him is his respect for Selena in that moment was not because she was a young girl who was like, ooh, I want to buy, because she kept bringing up that she wanted to buy these shoes. She wanted to buy these shoes. It was not because of that. It was because she recognized what he was selling and he valued that. And that's why he gave her that piece.
Yeah. The piece that covered Sam's heart.
I was going to make a snarky comment, but I'm going to hold that in. So. I was going to say, we could have saved that piece for another moment in Queen of Shadows, but it's fine. It's fine. He now has a scar for that moment. So thank you so much for that.
It's It's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's fine. We're fine. He's fine. Okay. The other one's not so fine.
Yeah, so what good? Never mind. Okay. What good was the spider silk in the end? But yeah, so that was the spider silk. And then I loved the little mentions of that story of the southern continent, which again tied into the healer, that, you know, the merchant was on his way to the southern continent. And that there were little threads that were being woven in that moment and then later get brought up in Tower of Dawn. So that's a fun one. Anything else I'm missing from? Oh, I forgot to bring up. So when Selena enters the fortress for the first time and she's like walking in about to meet the mute master, she comes across a book in a language she's never seen and just walks past it. And I'm like, bestie, you best not turn around. Turn around. Like, please go back. Like, grab the book, bestie. Like, what are you doing?
Go ahead and start learning some of those things.
Yeah. I mean, we don't even know if it was the same language. It literally could have been. Oh my God. Could you imagine if it was the Book of Breathings? I was going to say,
it could be the Book of Breathings. Could have been, anything.
I would have died.
That book just, that book just likes to fall into cauldrons and go to different places. It's fine.
Or it also could have been a book about the Queen of Many Faces.
Oh God. Oh God.
I can't. I still think that's the god in Kingdom of Ash. Because I mean, I think we all thought it was Aelin, but
we have a different theory now.
Good. Okay. Because we all were like Aelin, and then now it's like no. Rip that paper up. Wrong theory. Which, by the way, when Sarah last night was like, I think that's a conspiracy theory. I was like, is it, Sarah? Is it?
Well, no. What she said was, I think it's. I don't want to call them conspiracy theories, but fan theories and A+, very close reading. And
very
I'm just
close reading.
You patronizing. So I am going to jump to the computer right now.
My favorite too was like, I'm going to skirt around this, okay?
I would just like to point out that when asked about the point of view between Elaine and Asriel for a next book, she completely
she was like
Asriel. She was like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like, and then they were talking about her art behind her, and I was literally like, this is a joke. Like,
yeah.
Stop.
Which, by the way, I love Abigail. She's like the sweetest person, but the only difference we have is Abigail loves Elreal, and I literally could care less. Like, that is it. But she is the sweetest, cutest human, and her TikToks are great. So, like, still love her. Even though differencing ship war opinions, but
But that's okay because you're allowed to have differencing ship war opinions as long as you're not a jerk about it.
Oh, and she's not. I like her stuff all the time. I'm like, cute.
I mean, the Elreal aesthetic is very nice.
It's very yes.
I just happen to prefer.
But do you know what that Elreal aesthetic is? It's Mist and Fury, Feyre and Rhys.
It's also some specific character in Hosab that we won't talk about.
Oh yeah. So to bring up Hosab really quick. So my favorite thing about that was, do you guys remember how many times before Hosab came out that we were like, oh, you guys are just talking about conspiracy theories and you guys are just a bunch of crazy people. And then Hosab came out and no one thinks we're crazy now. So the next time Sarah's like, I think it's a crazy fan theory, I'm going to be like, is it, Sarah? Is it? Because I spent the last year looking like a psychopath and then you proved me
I was right.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Whose aesthetic do you think it's
we'll talk about it not here because
I have one in mind, but I don't know that it's the same.
I think Claire and I.
It's a spoiler, so we can talk about it after.
Wait, then no, it's definitely not the same.
Probably
Claire and
not.
I are the same page, though.
We'll discuss this. We'll discuss it after
because I'm trying to think of who you're thinking of too, and I can't.
We will literally talk about it.
There is a very, very obvious one of light pink and dark.
Please just breathe. We will talk about it after. I promise I won't let us forget to talk about it. But we are not.
Wait. I feel like this is a pop quiz. Light pink for Hosab.
Will you stop?
No, not for Hosab. Well, we'll talk about this later.
We're gonna talk about this after, okay?
I'm just very confused.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah.
How do you feel about the ballet? Love ballet. Because I know I
Oh.
do. Like, grew up as a dancer, love ballet so much.
I mean, I also love ballet and also grew up as a dancer. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's more.
no, I mean that one makes sense. But yes, I am thinking of something different.
I was thinking
Yes,
of day and
I
night.
know which one you're thinking about.
What? You can say day and night. Day and night.
Song's really good. Very catchy.
That's a great song.
yeah. That's not a huge. Literally, you get on TikTok.
It would not work in a ballet recital.
You literally get on TikTok and it's like day and night aesthetic. Like, people don't know who that is. It's fine. God. Don't make me look like I just spoiled shit. Anyways. Okay, moving on. Anything else about the desert? Going once? Going twice? Empire. Underworld.
You made me
Underworld.
read these.
Underworld. I'm sorry, it's Underworld then Empire.
You made me read these.
Yeah, so I didn't want to read it a fourth time, so that's why. Sam knows when you do the notes, you like read it, then you do the notes, and then you read it again. Like I'm capped at those two. Like, yeah, no, thank you. So, the best thing about that story and the thing that I love the most, and the only thing I'm going to say about it is I love it when new readers read Assassin's Blade and they tell me how much they cannot stand Lysandra. Like, they genuinely hate her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay.
I never disliked Lysandra. I always felt awful for her.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I disliked her, but I also didn't love like the dynamic between them. And like
Yeah.
that's just because you're not supposed to like the dynamic between them. But I was just like, I don't, there's something, it was that sixth sense you have where it's like there's more to her and I need to know what the more is.
Yeah.
And then, she shows up in Queen of Shadows, and then Rowan is like, oh, and then you find out what the more is, and you're like, oh.
Oh, God,
Great.
Rowan,
And, like-
the OG cereal.
Spilling the tea.
Wait, I just realized Rowan could do spill the tea about something. Okay, I'll keep that to myself.
I loved Lysandra. Well, like, so if we're talking about like the main characters, Lysandra is second to Aelin for me when you're looking at the women.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
then, so for me, it goes Aelin, Lysandra, Astrid, in my order.
Ooh, Astrid's
Fair.
above Manon.
Yeah.
I love Astrid.
I love
Okay,
that.
can we talk for like 0.5 seconds about the paint fairy art that dropped today?
I was sobbing.
Which one? I didn't see it.
Well, no, and
It's in the
no,
SJM art channel on Discord. I put
hold.
it there.
And no, the worst was
It's so pretty.
Amanda tagged me and Sam in it last night after me and Sam had just finished crying.
Dang.
Just finished
I
crying.
tagged Sam in it the second I woke up this morning.
I know I had it twice, and I'm like, oh god.
Oh God.
And then Avery, you put it on your story, and I was like,
Well, and I
saw it,
okay,
and I was like, I can't.
but
cry.
like I put dead on my story as in I was dead, but then I thought about it later and I was like, shit.
Oh no.
Well, then don't get me wrong. I
where
adore
is it?
Manon.
Okay, go to my Instagram story or something. Like it's in SJM art, but it's a TikTok.
Oh, it's a TikTok. Got it.
It's also on my Instagram story.
Don't get me wrong. I adore Manon, but I
It's
have
this one.
such a huge attachment to Astrid. I love her.
Isn't it stunning?
And then you can see at the bottom.
Yeah, if you scroll over one, you can see at the bottom the stomach.
Oh,
It's so
my
good.
God.
Mhm.
It's so good. Like Hannah did such a good job with that. I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not well.
Yep, I would agree with that one. Yeah, so I mean the Underworld. It was Underworld and Empire. Underworld. Okay. Underworld. I'm gonna get the names confused. It's like in my head it's like one big story.
Yeah.
The fun thing about Underworld is a few things. Number one, you see how manipulative Arobin is. Fun. We didn't talk about how much we hated Arobin. I forgot.
Well, we forgot to even bring up that we find out what he did to Sam and
Oh,
Selena in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna move
Well-
on from that. I can't even talk about it.
I don't like him.
Nope.
There's like there is one character who I hate almost as much, and it's a character from a different series. It's from Crescent City.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
And so yeah. And Arabin can pretty much
That one from Crescent City reminds me of the one at the end of Kingdom of Ash. Is it the same one?
Yes. But I very much disagree.
Oh, really? Okay. Got it.
I'll explain later.
Okay, got it.
But no, Arabin for me, I like reading when he bought Lysander.
Well, yeah, there's
I
that,
felt
but
physically ill.
he's just
and that was
very
one of those,
gaslighty.
yeah, he's very gaslighty, and it was one of those things where it was like I was already angry for how he was treating like Selena and Sarah. But then like for me, like when you found out about Lysandra, that was like you're just gonna get worse from here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's no going back.
Right.
I genuinely think, and I didn't realize it until this read through, when Ben, who we never met, but Ben was, I think, Arabin's second in command and like his essentially friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think his death caused Arabin to become unleashed. And I think he was already before that, but I think Ben, from what it sounds like, kept him in check a little bit. And he was no longer there, so it was like gloves were off. He could be whoever he wanted at that point.
Right.
Disgusting.
Terrible person.
Really just an awful human being.
Did anyone believe Arobin when he gave her the contract? Because I did. I'll be honest, I did. I'm a gullible person.
Oh, the gift contract?
Mm-hmm.
I was suspicious, but I wanted to believe.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I was very betrayed.
I wanted to.
Someone just said Arabin has always felt like a real life villain opposed to a fantasy villain, which is what makes him scary.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Very
I would agree with that.
I likened him to Peter Baelish or Littlefinger in the podcast, and like I stand by that because while Peter Baelish is arguably creepier because he was obviously in love with Sansa's mother and then just kind of turned his affection towards Sansa, which is just like, but it's the I wanted Arabin dead the same way I wanted Peter Baelish dead, and like I danced upon his grave. Like I hated that man.
And I think Sarah does a great job of making villains like that. Like you are not supposed to like him, and but the problem
he's
is
just hot.
He's very hot, which made me be like, I may like you. And then I was like, oh, I read Assassin's Blade and I can't stand your guts right now.
Yeah, you can go away.
I literally was like, what did you say in the podcast? My skin's a little dry. Like, where was he right now? Like,
my guy, thanks,
that.
my guy. My skin was a little
my skin's a little dry. Like, where are you, bro? Like,
hold on.
Oh, dogs. Oh, she's got 3 dogs in her house right now.
Yeah, they're doing like a Mufasa scar thing, and I'm gonna need for them to stop.
Oh, feel that. Yeah, so I think what is this?
Okay, sorry, my bad. She's literally turned my chair like 4 times by walking underneath me. I don't know if you guys have I've just been like,
oh,
can we not?
Yeah, and I think it, in a weird way, I know that Arabin deep down in his heart thinks he's doing these things with good intentions. However, he is so manipulated and so far gone and twisted. Those intentions are out the door because you just aren't you aren't getting it. Like you're just not understanding what's going on.
He's very icky.
He's extremely icky, but I think him as a character, like if you were to play the character of Arabin, he believes that his intentions are good.
Oh yeah.
Like he totally does. But he's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I can believe that he believes they're good intentions, but
he believes it himself. Everyone else?
Yeah.
He is the Umbridge of Throne of Glass.
He's like, I've never read Harry Potter past the second book. Avery, you know this. Avery, you know this because you give me a hard. Avery, you give me such a hard time about the Ginny thing. I've already explained this. I've already.
I do remember this conversation now. Book Ginny is just better. Book Ginny is just better.
I was just terrified she was gonna die, so I kept my mother up until 2:00 in the morning instead of finishing the book. And so she said, "No more Harry Potter for Claire."
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hold on a second, I'm checking something really quick.
I can believe that he thinks he has good intentions, but I think from the outside, everybody is like, these are awful intentions and you're the shittiest person alive.
Right. Oh, yeah. Like, I think everyone would agree that we don't agree with his intentions, but
not at all.
Mm-hmm. But he thinks, I'm doing the world a favor right now, and it's like, are you, or are you just being a crazy person?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think hold on a second. Okay, there we go. I'm checking something really quick. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the biggest thing for him. It's just, and I think the other thing that was hard was, and we didn't talk about this, but in the desert we also learned that she had bought that apartment and that she was keeping it a secret, and she was going to continue to keep it a secret. And then what the hell? And then I'm like, it's one of us. I thought it was me. And then
me, sorry.
No, it's fine. And then she was kind of waiting for the right moment to show the money and the funds to like free herself. Mm-hmm. And his reaction to me was kind of slimy too, because he was like, "Oh, we're gonna miss you. Are you gonna stay here?" Like, and she's like, "I have my own place." Like, and I think that's again another reason he became unglued. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, because of what he says at the end of Empire.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, the only other things I want to say for Underworld is Dorian.
Yes, the Harvest Moon Party. The Harvest Moon Party.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
That was like a breath of fresh air for me, because Sarah was like, "Avery, can you do the last 2 chapters?" And I was like, "Okay." So I started from the back and worked my way forward.
Yeah.
So that we could be in the middle.
Yeah.
The Harvest Moon Party was a breath of fresh air after coming from the back.
Yeah.
Forward. I was like, I need some happy. Can I get some happy?
I just love how it's never brought up again.
I know.
It's weird. Mm-hmm. It's weird to me.
Yeah. Like I would think it would come up.
Yeah.
That is something that's surprising. I love that though. And I think that's one of the things you don't see, and this is part of why I don't think you should read Assassin's Blade first. That means nothing to you. That means nothing to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you read Assassin's Blade first.
You have no idea.
Read it after Crown of Midnight. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, for real. For real. Yeah, absolutely. It is, yeah. Totally would agree. Yeah. So, yeah, and I think I can't think of anything. Well, but the music. Was the music in Empire or Underworld? Empire.
It's in Underworld.
It was in Underworld. Okay. The music.
Sam and Lysandra and Arabin and Selena all go together and sit in the box.
Yes.
And then he gets her the music after.
Yeah. So I think I think that's another really important thing, because something that is very clear with Selena very early on is how important music is. And we see that in Throne of Glass, and we see that in Crown of Midnight, and we see it again in Queen of Shadows and Empire of Storms. Like, there's so many moments in the series, and Sam knowing how important that gift is, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, reminds me like of another character from another series who provided another musical gift to another person. It's really special. So,
we love music.
We love
music between mates.
I love to see it. So, yeah. And then I guess the last thing is the Empire.
So So this one sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks because it starts with after and then it's like 11 days earlier. And you're
I
just like,
forgot
I
about
hate
that.
everything about this. I hate
Yeah.
everything about this.
And then
Because
We start off on the wrong
You
note.
start in a freaking prison wagon and you're just like, oh, no.
Nope,
Oh no.
don't like it here.
I don't like this. And so then you have all of this really great stuff. And then chapter 6 is where it starts the waiting game. And you're just like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. And then it's freaking Arabin who shows up and tells her, I'm sorry. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? No. But if you guys will see it when you get the notes, but I made a very, very bad joke because Selena comes back and the door is ajar. And that's when Arabin's sitting inside. So
Yeah.
I put as the header, when is a door not a door? When it's a jar.
I can't stand you.
I know.
I can't stand you.
I was like, I need some levity here. Like I'm not doing well.
We need
Yeah.
some comic relief.
Yeah.
Like I'm on the edge
Appreciate
of
the really,
destruction.
really bad joke. At that point, you're welcome.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's funny about Empire is so by the time you get to Empire, and this is again, if you didn't read it first, you're waiting for Sam to die. You know he's dying. And I knew because of reactions and stuff, I was like expecting this extremely gruesome, graphic depiction of his death. And all you get is Arabin sitting in her apartment.
Well, and
And then they
thing-
go to the keep.
Yeah, well, and I think that like it truly is like the thing that impacted me most was like the dread.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Also-
Which also makes reading it at the third point, like after you read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight,
mhm.
that's what almost like makes that story for you, is because you know Sam
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah.
Right.
You know Sam dies,
Right.
and you know she goes to Endovier. And if you're reading it first, if you haven't been spoiled, you don't know that.
Mhm.
And so like
Right.
that'll make you sad, but like I feel like you don't have like you have a little bit of time to care about Sam in these books, in these sets of short stories or novellas or whatever. But having her knowing how she feels in Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight makes the waiting for Sam to die worse.
Yeah. And there's
Right, yeah.
and a few people are saying this and I would agree. It was her watching the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh my God. It
Tough.
was awful.
it was so
Also,
painful.
somebody brought up the I am not afraid, which
Oh yes.
actually my first introduction to that line was in a different book.
Yeah, with a sprite.
Oh. Yeah.
That was my introduction to that line.
I'm really
And
sorry about
so and so
That was a
then
tough time.
Going back and reading Throne of Glass and finding kind of like the origin of that line, like
Yeah.
it was even like sentimental seeing it like the first couple times, but like when you read Assassin's Blade,
that. Yeah.
that also like because she's said it herself.
Yes.
Like
Right.
if you read it before
Mhm.
and then finding out why.
Where
Yes.
it comes from, yeah.
Which again is
Yeah.
something that I was really glad no one had spoiled for me because I didn't know that. And the first time Sam says it, you're like, oh my God.
Oh
I think
no.
Yeah.
I didn't have that spoiled for me either because I was legitimately shocked. And I had pretty much all
Mhm.
of Throne of Glass spoiled for me.
Yeah.
before I read it.
It's just, it's a beautiful way to whatever, put these
Weave.
together. Thank you. Interweave. I was like, words are difficult for me today.
It's okay.
To put it together. And so I appreciate the effort and just the way that she inserted that because
Absolutely.
she could have just left it alone and it could have just been in Throne of Glass about, I mean, again, when you look at this book, it's not in here. That story is not in here. So
No.
to readers, they did not know that was Sam's line. And
Right.
when they read Throne
Right.
of Glass, you found that out later when you finally got the Empire story.
Right.
So, and fun fact, the Empire story is the only one that actually made me cry in Throne of Glass. And it would
I
be
think
the stag.
I was gonna say, I think it's so poetic to have the last chapter of this book called Beginning.
Yeah.
Because it is the beginning of her new life without Sam. And it is the beginning of her going to the salt mines. It is also really the beginning of Throne of Glass, because we pick up after she's been there a year. So they're dropping her off and then we pick up with her leaving. So
Right.
I think that's really interesting is if you read it after Crown of Midnight, you're starting yet another new beginning for her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and oh my gosh, I've said this before, but so there was one day, Team Morton and I, it was really me. It was me. I figured out what chapter 54 was in my favorite book. And I was like, and so I went through every single Sarah J. Maas book to find out what was chapter 54. Fun fact, chapter 54 of Assassin's Blade is the beginning.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. And I sat there and like cried. I was like, no. Like Sam and Amanda were just getting me being like, I hate this. Why did I do this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah. But the stag. Well, and it's why I also read the breeze of the pine and snow for Sarah, and she took off her headphones and yelled at me. But like, yeah.
I literally can't even talk about it because it makes me so emotional. But like, and again, this has nothing to do with Rowan, except for the fact that I needed him to comfort me. But like, just the sense of it, and it was because you notice, especially in the beginning of Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, even in the beginning of Air of Fire and Assassin's Blade, she's terrified to think or talk about Aelin. And she gives herself this one moment to be Aelin. And I just lose it every time I read it. I'm like, and I can't read Air of Fire, Rowan. Like, I literally have to go all the way to Kingdom of Ash. Like, do you need chocolate cake, Rowan? Because like, this is not a good place right now for me.
And I said to Sarah that my favorite Rowan to read after this is Queen of Shadows Rowan, where it's the I would have missed you an ocean apart Rowan. You're just like,
he's just the best. He just
My favorite to revisit is the burnout and discovering of
yeah, I mean, yes, I would agree.
Every single one of us would be lying through our teeth if we didn't say that who did this to you trope is like.
No, but the burnout isn't even the who did this to you until the very end. The burnout is like, which is again why I love that relationship so much, because she does things and she's like, I'm doing great, don't need you. Doing great, don't need you. Oh, I just got stabbed. I'm going to die. I might need you right now. And obviously that doesn't happen in the series, but that's essentially the dynamic of that like situation. And I think that is what makes it so beautiful is he's like, I'm here. I'm not going to help you. You don't want help. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to help you like right now. So it's a really, yeah. And so and then that's the end of the Assassin's Blade.
Yep.
Yay.
Oh, did you say MVPs?
Oh, MVPs. What's everyone's MVP?
Well, I saved my favorite story for a later MVP.
Fair.
So my MVP is Sam.
Okay. I gotta think.
I'm stuck between Sam and Irene.
Trust me, you're gonna want to save Irene.
I know. Because she truly is the MVP there.
No, well, she's in a tie for me there, but
I have and the other person who I just want to give it to just because I do really like her is Ansel.
That's fair. Hey, I was thinking about that.
Even though Ansel makes some poor decisions here, I do still really love Ansel. Because also the thing that makes me cry second, like in Assassin's Blade, Sam makes me cry the most, or like that whole last book makes me cry the most. But the other thing is Aelin giving Ansel that extra minute.
Yep.
For me, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm gonna say the piece of paper.
Are you kidding me right now?
Nope, I am not.
You're the worst.
I said MVP, most valuable paper. Right there.
Wrong. Wrong.
I will say,
So
I will
wrong.
say the piece of paper.
As I
hate
debated,
you.
I mean, I kind of agree with the answer earlier, and I wish I came up with it, but I do think the mute master should probably be the MVP because of what he does for both Ansel and Aelin is massive for the rest of the series. But I do think that little piece of paper, oof, packs the punch without realizing it. So I'm going to cheat and say the paper. But my human answer would be the mute master. So, but yeah.
I'm going to go with the spider silk merchant.
I almost did that one!
I was gonna say
Yes!
that was my answer too.
I love that we were
That's
all
my
thinking of
answer,
the merchant, too.
That's like, it's so good. The payoff is so good.
It is.
That
Yeah.
payoff is
Yeah.
really good. There's a I love Assassin's Blade for what it means for the rest of the
Oh.
series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Assassin's Blade on its own is great, but is good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But with everything, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. It's I think when I read Empire of Storms, the ending, I was like, oh, this is really cool, you know. But when you read Empire of Storms and you know who those people are,
Mm-hmm.
it is a different ballpark. Like, and
Right.
in
Yep.
Queen of Shadows, if you're reading Queen of Shadows and you're like, why is her hair red? And she's like, Ansel. She's like telling everyone, it's like, girl, really? Like, that's why?
Right.
It's so good. It's really good. So,
She's a sneaky one.
oh God, she is. Okay, well, while we have a few minutes, do y'all want to talk about the live last night? Some of the crazy stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. At this point, it is
Of course.
all SJM spoilers. So
Yes.
we will be bringing up especially Sky and Breath and especially Silver Flames.
So if you have not finished through the end of Hosab, get out.
Yeah, go enjoy Rowan, Pine and Snow.
We love you.
He's on page 2
Bye.
of Verifier. Just in case you didn't know, page 2.
White-tailed hawk.
White-tailed hawk. Page 2, and then he appears in chapter 2, and then chapter 3 is with Idian. It's like boom, boom, boom.
The lion cub.
My
Can
little lion cub.
Can I say there was one day I was like, what's everybody's first lines to the love interest? And so wait, we're in full spoilers territory, right?
Give it like another minute. I usually like to give him one more minute, and then you can.
Because my person's is hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm ready.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
And it's the best.
Yeah. So,
Wonder what mine's is. Because I mean, like, they're not technically a couple yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
I will say, I don't think I know
I think
Silver
that's
Flames is
Nick.
that couple's first
Mm.
words. But I do know, like, obviously everybody knows the one from Akatar.
Yeah.
And then Rowan's is Let's Go.
Is it really? That's amazing.
It's really,
Yeah,
it
is.
really is.
It is.
How
Am I
romantic.
allowed to say now?
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
Okay. Hunt's first line to her is calm the fuck down as he's
Amazing.
stapling her leg.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Mom.
either his first line is either "Let's go" or it is Rowan, but you don't need to know the rest because those are like the only two things he says to her on the whole like journey. And I'm like,
Or just like a hawk screech, technically.
technically
Yeah,
it's a screech.
Technically.
Technically it's a hawk screech. Yeah. I wondered. Okay, like honestly, because you guys all watched the live. I watched the clip.
I did not, so I'm excited to hear about it.
Oh,
Oh, so this is the question I have. Do you honestly think she'd mention Throne of Glass to like because of CC3 or do you think she brought it up because she just wanted to bring it up?
I think both. like because I truly feel like there are so many doors left open at the end of Throne of Glass. And I think also the fact, because honestly, like if you think about it, and we've discussed before, like who it makes the most sense to see and where makes the most sense. Rift, Hold, and the Southern Continent technically make the most sense. But from like a marketing standpoint, Terracin makes the most sense. But, and people-wise, Aelin and Rowan make the most sense. So it was very interesting to me that the witches were brought up, because to specifically say, which, and I won't go on our depression theory, Sam, but
We'll skip that.
Because like to specifically say the witches is kind of like a weird call out when you're looking at crossover, because like of the people we are most likely to see if we go to Terracin, or when we go to Terracin, not if, is Aelin and Rowan.
Yes.
Over everybody else, just from like a marketing standpoint, like they are the main.
Yeah. It's
I
gonna
really
be
want to see Irene.
right. I mean, we've talked about this, but like I definitely feel logically the one who would be the most helpful is either Aelin or Eelway. And we're not going to go to Eelway because that is such a niche thing that if you really weren't paying attention, you're not going to notice. So it's going to be Aelin. I mean, technically Dorian was there too, but he wasn't really paying attention and he can't draw word marks. So like, that's not really going to work.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I have a feeling, I agree. I don't know who said it. It was someone in this chat, I think. They said when it happens, timeline wise, it's probably Lysandra and Nadian's wedding, so that everyone would be there.
I think you and I have discussed that.
We've talked about that because Team Mord is personally pulling for Nesrin and Sartak wedding just because of the location wise, but it would also be Lysandra and Nadian. Yeah, we've discussed it before where it's like either one of those weddings, it would make a lot of sense. And you would be able to see everybody.
Yeah. I think the wedding, or I mean, on it selfishly, I would love it to be the Whitethorns and Dornell, because I think there was a lot. The one thing that there's a few things that irritate me about Throne of Glass, but I'm getting like real nitpicky at this point when I say irritated. The politics of Dornell we didn't really get into, and the fact that the Whitethorns, who were an extremely prominent family, which is something that people kind of gloss over, but like Rowan even explains that, like I imagine when you go into the city, it's like, oh, mansions, and like a row of Whitethorn mansions, because it's like there's just so many of them and they're so like they're prominent in that.
Birdhouses.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like it's just, and I think Rowan in one of the bonus chapters says like an estate, and they literally put bars on the windows because they're all kids with birds and they just fly out the windows. Like I'm pretty sure like, Rowan says that. Like
and there's birdhouses everywhere. Actually, their estate's probably actually quite small because it's just a shit.
It's just birdhouses.
Birdhouses.
Well, I think one of them. Wait, is it Celine? Doesn't she turn into an eagle? Like one of them turns into like. I think Rowan turns into a hawk, and then I don't know what the other Whitethorns turn into, but they are other variations of birds.
Yeah, I feel like they're all birds of prey,
but they're not raptors.
Okay.
It's a line I remember from Kingdom of Ash about Gabrielle going, well, none of them are raptors, so it's not a white, or some of them are raptors, so they're not Whitethorns. And I was like, so we know what the white, I just don't understand bird anatomy right now. Like, what is going on?
Bird anatomy.
Like, okay, so Rowan's a hawk, but then what was his parents? And like, when Aelin and Rowan have children, like, are they just going to be other hawks, or are they going to be other birds? I don't understand. I have questions.
I've honestly never thought about it until this moment, but now
I literally have thought about it multiple times.
Well, of course you have.
Hold on, please hold. I'm going to confirm this. Whitethorn.
So they're not raptors, but they can be other birds. Like, so we're talking like parakeets or like
Well,
sparrows or, you know.
hold on.
Oh my God, Daniel.
Hummingbirds.
A flamingo.
So
Just like walking.
Aylin just hangs a hummingbird feeder for when certain
Oh my
families-
god, a penguin! Just like
They're not going to be a penguin.
Say-
Jesus.
Can I say, my favorite thing that you have ever said, Sarah, is about having like bird perches.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Aylin,
yeah.
Look, Rowan places a rock on Sam's grave. I'm just saying, penguin.
A penguin.
No, but do you know why he places the rock? Because that's actually
It was a joke.
okay. All right. Then I won't say anything.
I knew she would get offended.
Yeah,
in
he's a
instantaneous-
falcon. Yeah. Okay. So I can never say this Whitethorn's name. How do you say this? It's.
Endymion.
Thank you. You knew exactly which one I was talking. Endymion he is described as where does it say it?
Oh my god, they're all birds of prey.
A
That's the point.
falcon. He's a like, how do we go from falcons to hawks? Like, I just have questions. Like, do you know what's okay? Because obviously, when I was working on the Rowan shirt, I learned this. Did you know white-tailed the hawks are like very rare, and most hawks are red-tailed hawks? So like, there's got to be one of those in the bunch, right?
It's because he has white hair.
He has silver hair, but yeah, I've been corrected. But
Oh. Okay, so the quote is that they're not raptors, right? But you look up birds of prey and they're also known as raptors.
I know it doesn't make sense. Okay, I am fully aware of that. It's the same. I feel like this is the same discussion I have with my mother every time when I bring up Rowan's nickname is Buzzard, and she's like, "But he's not a buzzard," and I'm like,
I know.
"But he is," because they do describe white-tailed hawks as that.
Yeah.
Okay, what does Celine turn into? She's a golden eagle. See, there's eagles and falcons and hawks. Like, what is it just bird anatomy, genetic random, like what?
Literally a bird of prey.
You know what Aylin and Rowan's kid is going to be? A phoenix.
Jesus Christ, because it's a firebird.
Yeah, right?
You're so annoying.
I can leave now.
Yeah.
I mean, it
leave now.
makes sense, but you're really annoying.
Oh, also, I can say, in case, sorry, this is like, this is very random, but this is going back to what was something that was said much earlier when I was referring to an aesthetic. I was talking about Fury and Juniper.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, I was like,
got
if
that.
anyone did not pick up on that, the aesthetic reminds me of Fury and June.
Yeah,
So
that's
cute.
fair. Oh, Claire, I found the first words that Gwen says to as on page.
Oh, which are?
Well, technically, so she asks him off page for extra dagger handling training. So I want to bring that up because that happens before chapter 60. But in chapter 60, she says, "What do we get if we finish the course?" That's the first thing she ever says. Which is just like, it's so competitive and nonsense. I'm just like, okay.
Of course it is.
What are
That does
Az's
not
first
surprise
words
me.
to her on page?
Huh?
What are Az's first words to her on page?
It comes right after that. And it says, "Since there's no chance in hell any of you will finish the course, we didn't bother to get a prize."
True love.
True love.
I don't know. I can't say shit right now because my couples is calm the fuck down.
Right.
So-
But like everybody's gonna think it's the "See You Tomorrow" Shadow Singer, and it's not. Because this actually happens right before that.
Mhm.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure Aylin's first word to Rowan's are "well met, my friend."
Mm.
Love that.
I'm pretty sure. Wow.
That
there-
one's not me.
I thought it was Aylin.
No, all of mine are asleep right now.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so anyways, so there'll be a phoenix. Okay, I'm glad we chat agrees too. They said it before I did, but we were all on the same wavelength there. Much
Look, we're
appreciated.
just not looking at the chat right now. We're very sorry. We're just
I know.
rambling.
I can't think of I can't think of anything else regarding
Alive.
I mean
So There is a comment. Can we talk about how Cassian was supposed to just be watching Nesta and a magic mirror during the rite?
Oh my God, yes, we can absolutely discuss this.
You know what she did? She ended up just turning that into Hunt and Bryce for Earth and Blood. Could you imagine Cassian watching? I feel like he'd freak out the entire time.
He 100% would be freaking out.
When people were like, she saved it for Crescent City, I was like, yeah, but that would have had a happier ending than what we get in Crescent City.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Both times, because we actually get it twice, because somebody is sitting there watching at the end of Hosap.
I'm so glad he was not watching from a magical mirror, because I feel like I would have been like, what?
Yeah, I'm very glad he wasn't.
Shout out to her editor for...
her editor who made other questionable choices for that book, aka the Red Star, but you know.
Yeah.
In and out, Sarah. In and out. Breathe. It's gonna be fine.
I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm just saying.
Spring and winter. I understand.
Another thing that was brought up, she kind of sort of confirmed we're getting more Crescent City books.
Yes, she did.
She's technically contracted for 3, but then she was like, there are 4 houses.
Each one's named after a house.
Which is going to be funny when
Many
Waters is last.
A Therion book.
Therion book.
I feel like it's going to be this.
Therion is so important.
Jesus
and
Christ.
his chapters are phenomenal.
I think it's going to be another like ACOTAR situation where we get like a novella that helps lead into more spinoff books. And that can be a Therion book, Claire.
Well, no, I was gonna say she said during the Hosab tour that she had an Ember novella.
I'm down.
Oh,
I
would do that.
Oh, Sarah, you're gonna like it even more after you talk to Team Mort.
I'm just spiraling last night a little bit.
I would do an Ember thing 100%.
I know.
Yeah. She said that during the Hosab tour event was that she had an Ember novella that she wanted to do. And then, but when you're looking at the houses, Many Waters, we have a singular friend in Many Waters who is not going to be free by the end of Crescent City 3. Like, in my mind, there is no way.
No. And there's too much else that she has to wrap up.
Yeah, no.
Guy.
So we're going to get a Therion book, and
Mermaid.
you guys will eat your words. By the way,
I'm so sorry.
For anybody who was not here during the last Theory Thursday, Avery and Sarah were talking about not liking Therion's chapters, and I was very upset.
I think the
To
thing
be
is,
fair, it's not that we didn't like them. It's just that it didn't hold my interest as much.
For me, I felt like, and I feel this way about other characters within the universe.
Yeah.
They are overhyped to the point that expectations are set to an unbelievable place. And that's where my expectations were with Therion, was I had certain expectations and I was very let down with what it was. But
I didn't have anybody who was like super like excited about Therion.
I was excited about him.
I definitely saw people being like, oh, Therion, he's the best. Like people, how they treat Rune, it was like that with Therion. And
well, it's almost the same thing with like Adis, how we hyped Adis up and he wasn't in the book at all.
Yeah. So I think it was
which nothing pains me more.
I think if I had, and this is, and we talked about this too with Throne of Glass. What's really interesting is when you talk to readers when the books were coming out and what their perspective. I mean, people had a massive ship war about Kale and Rowan after Heir of Fire. Like, they were like, oh, her loyalty's with Kale. And it's like, no, her loyalty's clearly with Rowan. Like, there was massive ship wars. None of us would even think about that right now because we just binge read everything. And I think people who go from Earth and Blood to Sky and Breath probably don't have that same thought about Therion. But I definitely had like a 60%, not as like dialed up as Rune, like a 60% super hyped opinion about him. And I don't want to say I was let down. I mean, I was a little like, oh, this is what it was. But I felt like it was going to be something very different than what it was. Yeah. And so it has potential for me.
Yeah.
I in general will say, though, Hosap was completely different from what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Same.
I trust her to make me care. But
Yeah,
I just don't care right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
baby. He is in danger right now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No. Can I also say, like, and then I'll shut up. I'll shut up about Crescent City, I swear.
Fine. I don't shut up about Silver Flames. You're fine.
yeah, we don't care.
You're fine.
But I showed this at the beginning, but or when we were just on, but I'm literally moving tomorrow, and the thing I have out is, but with Therion, one of the things that stresses me out is we have no clue if he made it back to the water in time.
Oh, I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think he's fine with that because the Viper Queen made it very clear that that was one of the reasons that, like,
She kept
We
it.
wanted him around.
yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
think he's gonna.
So somebody asked in the chat if Sarah confirmed that Bryce and Hunt are in game.
Yes.
They're
Bryce
mates.
and Hunt
Claire.
are in game.
Yes.
That
Yes.
happens in
She also said that the third book would be a wrap up of Bryce and Hunt's story. And that would be like, it would be the end, like
Flame
or
and
not,
Shadow.
I don't want to say the end.
Flame and Shadow.
Flame and Shadow. But she compared it to like when she was talking about future books for Crescent City, she compared it to ACOTAR wrapping up Bryce and Hunt, like she wrapped up Reese and Feyre, and
Yeah.
then moving on to other people.
Yeah.
You just have to look at the wording from like the other
Therion
books.
and Hypaxia. Oh my god, I want a Hypaxia book. Anyway, I'll stop.
Yeah. I mean, I just.
literally anything with the witches.
Yeah.
Any witch, anything, I'm good.
Yeah. I know there are a lot of theories about Hunt dying. I know
because
they
of the
exist.
Orion stuff.
Well, just no, in general, it just exists about him dying. Because it's not just the Orion like constellation stuff. It is also the seers, the oracle. That was the word I was looking at. The oracle's message to him. So like there is people think that. I do not believe that for 1 second.
No, and I don't. Part of why I don't think that, and like, I'll come at this from. I'll try to remove myself from how much I love them as much as possible.
Sure.
But from a like logistical standpoint, it does not make sense to kill Hunt because then Bryce has no love interest, and I can't see her ending Crescent City with Bryce alone. And if she kills him and brings him back, it's the same thing she did with Reese.
Yeah.
She's not going to do it again. Like in my mind, it would be dumb to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't see her doing that. And then also the thing with the Oracle, if you want to look at what was said, technically that's played out.
Mhm.
It's because of his attachment to Bryce that he is now once again in the hands of the Asteri. He's already been tortured by the Asteri for 7 years.
Mhm.
He's back again.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already seen that play out where because of his attachment to Bryce, something bad has happened.
Yeah. They're fine. I think that was and we had talked about this before, like Hosab came out. Like I think the only theory I got correct was, or one, I might have gotten another one. Oh, I did. My 2 theories were correct. Number one was that Sarah was going to make it very clear, and I felt like she did, that Bryce and Hunt were endgame and that they were going to last, and that relationship was going to be pretty solid. But something was going to happen to drive them apart. And my theory at the time was, it was going to be this war because she was going to want to do it and he wasn't, which was actually true in the story. But both of them were a little more Luke about it than I dramatically made up in my head. But it ended up being Cormac. Like it was the Autumn King. That was the driving force between them. So she wanted, it's very clear, she wanted to make that relationship solid so that she could do what she did at the end of Hosab and let them be separated and figure out their own stuff together, on their own. So,
Well, that's
she also, with day and night, like she made them mates. Like that's
very clear. Yeah.
That's very clear. They are mates. They are also not in a great spot right now.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, I can't remember. I think this was on TikTok. Somebody was like, I want something to go bad for Hunt and Bryce just because I want like that angst. And I was like, you'll be getting angst.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You're going to be just fine.
And I do think, I mean,
you're going to get that.
Bryce and
It's
Hunt
not
are going to
be
go
the
through
best.
stuff, but it will not be as a couple. Like, something will happen to Bryce and Prithian. And
yeah.
something will happen to Hunt pretty quickly, I think. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Hunt and Rune, I just am like,
I know.
Baxian.
I know.
I
Baxian's
can't.
there
Oh,
too.
Baxian's dead. Baxian
Homeboy,
is
R.I.P.
AD dead.
I know.
I
I
know.
know.
He's not making it, my guy. He literally went down to the Easter. He's done. His mate is dead. Like, come on.
I don't like it.
The
Yeah.
man is dead.
Another comment though about the live was about how many times SJM mentioned the prison.
Yes, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
mentioned.
We all were like, what?
Like, she
So
mentioned it twice in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The prison in Prithian.
Mm.
Mhm.
It
And then she mentioned it again later. But like Sam put on the Discord chat, she was like, Sarah J. Maas mentions the next book is about Prithian.
I mean,
Yeah.
the prison it always felt like,
Oh yeah. I mean,
There's
there's
so much.
too many hints that she has put out into the universe about the prison. There's the whole like secret room with the creepy guy that she mentions, Lanthus.
yes.
Like, come on.
The Valg, you mean?
Yeah,
Valg.
well, yes, the Valg. And then she called it a creepy guy, but it's Lanthus.
Sure. We'll call it
talking
a
about
creepy
Lanthus.
guy. Oh, that would have been a good question to ask her at the live. Was Lanthus a Valg? Can you confirm that?
Yeah.
Damn
And
it, I
then-
didn't think about that.
And then, it's got the harp and the constellations, and then you've got the vision of the Fae getting eaten by the mountain and da-da-da, and like, come on. Just come on.
Yeah.
That mountain is a sister mountain, and I will die on this hill.
I know. I think
I will be obnoxious.
I think it will just be very interesting to see what she does, because I mean, to totally just talk about the elephant in the room, I don't know how much of ACOTAR she will put in Crescent City without it feeling like, oh, I have to read Crescent City to read the next ACOTAR book. And I can tell you right now, Bloomsbury does not want. Well, they don't mind it, but that's horrible for marketing. So
No, I
Well,
feel like it's. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think we're getting the tiniest tidbits of
I feel
things
like
that
hints.
make, because you also have to think about it from people who just read Crescent City.
Yep.
They don't
Right.
give a fuck. Like, or they don't give
Right.
a fuck. Like, they're like,
I
Yeah.
can't wait for
right
the.
there.
My favorite is in my head. I always think now about the backstories that she has to explain for the readers of Crescent City who've never read ACOTAR. Like, can you imagine? Like, hello, my name is Risa, and I am the High Lord of the Night Court, and this is my High Lady. Oh, dude, there's no such thing as a High Lady except in winter. Like these things that we're all gonna be like, we know. Moving on.
Yeah. No, I think at most, even though we're spending a lot of time in Prithian, apparently,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is going to be researching with Gwen, and Thea and High King Finn and the Daglin Wars, and figuring all of that out, because she now has information that they may need for the like prison mountain
Yeah.
situation.
that we need for the ACOTAR novella on Thea. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely getting that.
It would provide so much backstory for ACOTAR.
I know.
That
I
would
just don't think we're getting it. I just don't think we're getting it.
I want it so bad.
I know you do. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's happening.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yes, somebody said and Meryl. Okay, can we talk about the fact that Meryl and Jezebel Roga are described very similarly, and that Meryl is like the some kind of niece daughter situation from Lord of the Western Winds? Like, can we talk about that for like 5 seconds? Because I can't.
Go for
I
it. I
can't
don't
deal.
really buy this theory, so go for it.
You're so annoying. You're so annoying. I hate you. No, I mean,
They are
They're
described
literally-
very similarly. I would
they're
agree.
literally like, and they both work in a library. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and one of them is studying stacked worlds. Like, come on.
I think that's about all they have in common. And then everything else is not in common between the two of them.
Yeah, but you also don't like the dust court theory, so it's fine.
I'll
be right about one of them.
I don't dislike the dust court theory. I just don't understand it. And that is just, that's...
I don't understand what there's not to understand about.
Because it doesn't make sense. Every court has a very distinct magical ability. What the hell is dusk?
Really hate you.
It's,
Sorry.
I mean...
We really should do a Theory Thursday with Team
Yeah, no, we definitely can. All right, I'm gonna cut this off. So like, I'm just gonna cut this off. Sorry, y'all, I'm no more comment reading. Cutting this off. So this is what I'll say, just so you guys know. We're taking quite a bit of a break right now. So a few things. Number one, playlist should come out this weekend. Hopefully tomorrow. God knows. It's been a very stressful 72 hours. I accidentally locked low in my car. I was sobbing in a parking lot for about 45 minutes.
This would be why I had to leave the chat very abruptly yesterday.
I was like in a full blown breakdown. She's fine, by the way. She slept in the car seat while the whole thing was going down, so like totally fine.
She wasn't bothered at all.
She was maybe a little hot, but it honestly wasn't awful in the car because it was like 10 o'clock at night because that's what time I left work yesterday. So yeah, so you'll playlist potentially tomorrow, maybe Sunday. Notes probably Saturday as well. Potentially Sunday morning at latest at this point. They're done. I just have to do some finalizing things on them. And then Air of Fire Live is at the end of this month. It's September 30th. It's literally the last day of this month. The reason is because your homegirl's going to go see Dermot Kennedy. I need to see him. I know you need to see him. Yeah. I'm going to wear my Who Is That Rowan shirt and everything for it.
Of course you are.
For those of you that don't know, that's the Power Over Me guy. So that's happening. And so we had to move some dates around to kind of make it work. So we're just taking a little bit, which is great because it's a bigger book. So it gives Avery and I plenty of time to do that. And then I think we're pretty much...
we need the time.
Yeah, we need the time. And I think...
We need the time.
I think there's another break between Empire Storms. So I think that is the other big break. So... but yeah, make sure you listen to the podcast. The podcast we had a lot of fun with. It is out now, so go listen to it. Yeah, and yeah, and thank you.
I think that was our best recording we've
it was. We were because we were done.
We were hyped.
We had recorded it like twice at that point. And then tomorrow we'll switch everything over for Air of Fire. I will get rid of the Rowan action because it'll start to get annoying now that he's actually in the damn book. So give me like
literally everybody was like,
guys.
They were just asking questions about Rowan, and it was like video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. So
my favorite was Buzzard.
Oh, I'll keep that one. That one's staying.
Yeah. The Buzzard one is
so good. Yeah, I literally cry every time I post it. So, okay, but other than that, thank you so much for coming. Yeah. And we will see you in Discord. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's the end button.